Hey everybody, this has been a shocking morning. Good morning, to say the least. And well, let's just start off with the news, okay? The news is huge. Las Vegas Sands. This is actually front page of Oakland News now, right now. Um, Las Vegas Sands, the company that was started by entrepreneur Shell Nadelson, based on the winnings from his earnings from his Comdex property, which was the forerunner to CES, um, has sold out of Las Vegas. It has sold its Las Vegas properties for $6.25 billion. I repeat, for $6.25 billion. That was announced this morning. I had the pleasure of speaking with a representative from the organization. I'm not going to say that person's name out of respect for the nature of our conversation and what um, was said, but I can tell you what I was told, uh, within reason, of course. Um, Much of it not earth shattering at all. But first of all, before I get to the point where I tell you what the representative of the firm and I talked about, let me explain. Let me just read the press release to you. As I'm talking to you, I'm also basically, because I'm trying to get this news out there. Good morning. I'm trying to basically get also the video blog for this properly presented with the right photograph. In this instance, of the Venetian, right? Um, this has been a long time coming, and what I mean by a long time coming in terms of the sale, but the pandemic basically pushed everything to a point where it happened 2 months after Shell Nadelson's death, the sale. And what's going on is that for a long time, a long time, as Adelson has complained that the internet was encroaching upon the ability of uh, Sands Corporation to make money off casinos, and he tried, did Mr. Adelson for some time, even through legislation, to really stem the tide of eating away of revenues from slots and other gaming, uh, that was happening because of the internet. Uh, he also warned that it was going to hurt Las Vegas because, look, people prior to the internet and for most of the internet's young life went to Las Vegas to gamble. That's what you did. Now you don't have to go to Las Vegas to gamble. Um, and that's been a bad thing for Las Vegas. It means that Las Vegas, at best, could be a specialist in setting up gaming facilities in other parts of the country. But now we're at a point in the United States, just to put this in its entire a proper focus, where you do not have to drive less than an hour to be at a major casino anywhere in the United States from any major city. That is where we are right now, and that constant growth in that situation, if you will. Okay, that constant process of replication has eaten away at the Las Vegas market. At the same time, that Macau built up considerably, um, in large part due to these same actions of development by Las Vegas Sands, Wynn Resorts, and MGM Resorts. But as was pointed out to me in the conversation before, Las Vegas Sands enjoyed a $5.25 billion EBITDA, earnings before taxes, before the pandemic. Okay, and that was an industry leading statistic in terms of profit, or in terms of EBITDA, earnings. And so that's not profit but earnings, and they're very proud of that. Now, note what I was told, and it was emphasized that was before the pandemic. Okay, which means, translation, because in conversations like this, you have to sort of turn things around to what it means from the other perspective. It means that they were losing money. And I asked, does this also mean that you all have given up on the ability of government to help you out? Because remember, last year, toward the early period of when the pandemic was obviously economically challenging Las Vegas and the United States and the world, Donald Trump had all the major casino players and hospitality representatives of Las Vegas and the United States in the White House to discuss his plans for the future. And he said, look, he had these different task forces and he was going to get them help, and that never materialized. It was, one of a number of promises the Trump administration made that were precisely just that, unfulfilled promises, at a time when the gaming industry in Las Vegas and the Las Vegas hospitality industry in particular needed a great deal of help then and needs enormous help now, okay? But as was pointed out to me in the phone conversation, Las Vegas has a lot of time. Las Vegas has been a declining portion of the Las Vegas Sands portfolio for years, and now they're out. All that remains, this is the quote from the organization, not from me, and this is also stated in their press release, all that remains is the office. Now, what does that mean for the Raiders? And you would say, why do I bring up the Raiders in this context? Well, it's a very important question. I bring up the Raiders in this context because during the early period of time when there was discussion between Mark Davis, Raiders principal owner, and the late Sheldon Adelson about different aspects of what a lease would look like and an ownership partnership, right? There was discussion of the possibility that Mark Davis would leave the Raiders to Sheldon Adelson's kid, allow them to buy it. That was mentioned once, and the conversation just sort of petered away. I did raise that question, and the answer I got back was, look at the press release, okay? The press release doesn't refer to that. So if you haven't looked at the press release, you will say, okay, Zinni, what does the blankety blank press release read? And I will tell you right now precisely what it reads. It's on Oakland News Now right here, but I will save you the trouble of having to tramps first over there. Here it is right here, okay? This is it, all right? That's it, okay? And that's a picture of the Venetian. This is on Oakland News Now, right? All right? Now, now let me explain what this says, and then we can just go on. If you have any questions, just type them in. It goes like this. Las Vegas Sands today announced that it has entered into definitive agreements to sell its Las Vegas real estate property and operations, including the Venetian Resort, Las Vegas, and the Sands Expo and Convention Center, collectively the Venetian, for an aggregate purchase of approximately $6.25 billion. Under the terms of the agreement, an affiliate of funds managed by affiliates of Apollo Global Management will acquire subsidies that hold the operating assets and liabilities of the Las Vegas businesses for approximately $1.05 billion in cash, subject to certain post-closing adjustments, and $1.2 billion in seller financing in the form of a term loan credit and security agreement. And VICI Properties Incorporated will acquire subsidiaries that hold the real estate and real estate related assets of the Venetian for approximately $4 billion in cash. The close of the transactions is subject to customary closing conditions, including regulatory approvals. Goldman Sachs LLC acted as exclusive financial advisor to Las Vegas Sands. Skadden Arps, the law firm, served as legal advisor. Las Vegas Sands executives said that while selling the Venetian, the property that helped establish Sheldon Adelson and his company at the top of the gaming industry, will be bittersweet, the opportunities, note this, the opportunities for the company to pursue new growth prospects are robust. This is in the press release. Quote, the Venetian changed the face of future casino development and cemented Sheldon Adelson's legacy as one of the most influential people in the history of the gaming and hospitality industry. As we announce the sale of the Venetian, we pay tribute to Adelson's legacy while starting a new chapter in this company's history, said Las Vegas Sands Chairman and Chief Executive Officer Robert Goldstein. Now, if Robert Goldstein sounds familiar to you, during the Southern Nevada Tourism Infrastructure Committee meetings, it was Goldstein that said that originally, before the deal went south because of a disagreement, that Adelson was going to pay all of the cost overruns and infrastructure improvements, okay, around Allegiant Stadium. But when Adelson thought that Mark Davis was working behind his back and revealed that on the 17th of February of 2017, just before the NFL vote, that went south, at least publicly, okay? Now, with this pandemic information, it's a foregone conclusion. I think that that investment opportunity is way gone out of the window. And so, at any rate, I continue. We will always look for ways to reinvest in our properties and those communities. Talking about Macau and Singapore, they're putting their money in China. In China, okay. They also write this, however. Keep this in mind. There are also potential development opportunities domestically, where we believe significant capital investment will provide a substantial benefit to those jurisdictions, while also producing very strong returns for the company. Our long-held strategy of reinvesting in our Asian operations and returning capital to our shareholders will be enhanced through this transaction. Additionally, as our industry continues to evolve, particularly as it relates to the digital marketplace, we are committed to exploring those possibilities, said Patrick Dumas, the company's president and chief operating officer. Mr. Dumas added this: our company's history will always be traced to the opening of the Venetian in Las Vegas. Today, Sands is the most valuable gaming company in the world, with an established track record of success in developing and operating large-scale integrated resorts in Asia and the United States. The company's financial strength, which grows stronger as a result of this deal, gives us the flexibility to pursue a multitude of new development opportunities. Mr. Goldstein, who once served as the president and chief operating officer of the Venetian and the connected Palazzo Resort, said it would be difficult saying goodbye to many longtime colleagues, but he was confident the property will continue its great success. He also said Apollo and VICI were the right companies to lead into the future, and that additions like the MSG Sphere, a live performance venue being developed by Madison Square Garden, will create new growth opportunities for the property. The property is and this is a quote from Mr. Goldstein, a best-in-class asset with a talented team of people operating it. I am confident, he says, Las Vegas will soon return to a more normal operating environment, and the Venetian's hardworking and dedicated team members will continue delivering a world-class experience to guests eager to enjoy it. I know I will be rooting for them, he said. And so the rest is a description about Las Vegas Sands, and it says the properties include the Venetian Resort and Sands Expo in Las Vegas and the iconic Marina Bay Sands in Singapore. Though majority ownership is in Sands China LLC, okay? And the iconic Marina Bay Sands in Singapore, we have developed the largest portfolio of properties in the coastal strip of Macau, including the Venetian Macau, the Plaza, and Four Seasons Hotel Macau, the London Macau, the Parisian Macau, and as well as the Sands Macau and on the Macau Peninsula. And then there's language about it being a good corporate citizen, okay? So here's the thing. The question is, what does that mean for the Raiders? And I think it means this. First of all, it spells trouble for Las Vegas because a key investment player in Las Vegas is taking its money out of Las Vegas. That's a big deal. And the question has to be, hey, if Mr. Adelson was still alive, would this move happen? My answer is no. No, it would not have happened. They would not have simply cleared out, given the financial exposure and investments and philanthropy that Sean Adelson has been known for. But Las Vegas Sands has sent a clear signal Those days are over. And it also, you know, invites this question. If Las Vegas Sands has sold these properties and is involved in Singapore, what about the family of Sheldon Adelson? Now, on Twitter and everybody place elsewhere, people are having social media chatter. The idea is, well, Miriam Adelson was the one who wanted out. I don't think it was like that. And I believe that it was a strict, because this is a company that is on the New York Stock Exchange, all right? This is a strict investment play for its shareholders. They turned around and they simply saw the handwriting on the wall, and they weren't getting any kind of money at all from the United States government. And so this move, you can blame on the lack of action by the Trump administration spilling over into 2021. Had they acted, I will tell you this would not have happened. Because the Trump administration had made a verbal commitment to monetarily assist the United States hospitality industry, of which Las Vegas Sands is a big part. And Mr. Adelson was right there in the room when Trump said so. But he did not do that. And now you have an infrastructure bill that's on the table that will be about $2 trillion in size and can help Las Vegas, but there is this open, quite possible scenario that Republicans will try to torpedo it. Why? Is out there in political illogical land, all right? But that's what we're looking at. The one thing you have to understand is that with respect to the Raiders, the NFL, and cities and teams, this is not compartmentalized. For example, when I mean by compartmentalized is all these are interrelated in different ways. Everybody should care. Why? Let me give you an example. The bond structure that was done was such that there was a 2-year revenue collection process. And that 2-year revenue collection process simply said that until the bond issue was let, which it was in April 4th of 2018, for $725.7 million, which is the subsidy. There would be a 2-year collection of revenues, and that happened. But something else happened. And I said this was going to occur because the stadium hotel tax rate at 88/100 was too low, all right, to collect the proper amount of revenue to retire the bonds in such a way that it would not cut into their debt coverage ratio. Their debt coverage ratio was 1.5 to 1. In other words, they were saying, hey, look, we only need 1.5 times the revenue of the bond debt, and we're only going to collect that much. They really needed 2 times in order to produce a cushion. That was my warning. They didn't listen. So what happened, quite simply, was when the money did come in, it was too low. And I didn't, even though I said that was going to happen, I'm not the first person to say that. A Las Vegas television, News 3, noted it at my behest. And they said, look, hey, they're behind in collection. And that spread through the wire service. They're behind. What that translated into is the Raiders having less money, and they turned around and said, how are we going to deal with this? Remember that year, 2018, the year that John Gruden took full control. What did they do? Yeah, Khalil Mack, gone. Right? Among others, okay? And remember in the NFL draft, Amari Cooper, remember in the NFL draft, then the Raiders under Reggie McKenzie adopted this really low cost envelope. And they, to hallmark my example, Maurice Hurst originally thought to be as high as an 11th pick in the first round, if not higher. All right, the Michigan defensive tackle went all the way down to the the fifth round. Why? Because it was found he had a heart problem. But the Raiders, in executing a low-cost draft strategy, took him at a time when, if they had a normal strategy, they would have went after a higher dollar player in the draft. Remember, they moved down, okay? That was because they didn't have enough money, because they knew they were expecting part of that money, a surplus from the pay-go, that they could use for players. Remember, all this is coming to the Raiders. Raiders went from being Stadco. Originally, do you know who Stadco was supposed to be? Yeah, that's right. It was supposed to be Majestic Realty in partnership with Sands. All right? The original document for the stadium had Sands Expo, Majestic Realty, and the Raiders. All right? All right? But what Adelson did was basically came in, pushed Majestic Realty out of the way, and made it just the Raiders and Sands Expo. And then when the Raiders got what they wanted, basically Mark did a deal that didn't include them in terms of lease structure. And when they got wind of it, Goldstein and, well, in particular, Adelson, they said, we're out of here. Adelson and his PR fellow, Andy Aboud, hey, we're out of here. We're not dealing with you. They said that publicly. All right? So that situation, if that had not been done, arguably Mark Davis could have went to, if the relationship was a strong one, went to Adelson and say, hey, you know what? As a partner with the Raiders, can you help me pay for these players? And they would have been able to retain them. But Mark messed that up. There's no other way to put it, okay? Now, I am not saying this implies a sale of the Raiders, so don't even put that out there. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying, however, is that the directions in terms of money that the Raiders can go to, it would seem, are drying up. That the one big X factor is the family of Sheldon Adelson. And that's what I'm still trying to find out, is what is the family going to do? Will the family retain the Review Journal? Look, the Review Journal was a great tool to do what? To present the showcase properties of Las Vegas Sands. Hey, they don't care. Las Vegas Sands is gone. As I was told this morning, all that remains, okay? All that remains. Hey, Deshaun Dixon, how you doing? Deshaun's. All that remains are their offices. It's a sad day in Las Vegas, folks. A very sad day. And yeah, they paid $100 million for a coach, right? By the way, the man typing. If you can't see what I'm responding to, this is a live stream, and so Deshaun Dixon, who's an architectural genius, has chimed in. Has got a fantastic design for Ray Bobbitt's stadium project, but I digress. The point I'm making right here is that this spells uncertainty to the negative. The one positive you have to look at is what the government can do in this situation with the infrastructure plan, right? But overall, it's scary. I think it's quite scary. It's quite sad. It is an end of an era. It is, Las Vegas will always rebound, but think about the people who left Las Vegas in terms of passing on. Tony Hsieh, who took his money out of Las Vegas, was hanging out in Park City, but then died, had really helped build up the downtown. He's gone. The gentleman who's building the Circa, I can't say has replaced him, but he's made a gigantic effort with his Circa Hotel in revitalizing downtown there. But it seems like for every opportunity like that, there's something like this. And so I think it puts the need to pass the infrastructure bill into greater relief. It really does, okay? Deshaun says Mark will lose this team in 2 years. You know, I'm not going to disagree with any outcome like that right now. I don't know. I don't know that Mark would lose the team. However, I think Mark is in a great position to basically decide he's going to sell the team, uh, become a billionaire, and enjoy Las Vegas. He's already building, what, a $14 million house on a hill somewhere. He's let everybody know, I'm rich, I'm rich. Great for you, Mark. And it is great for him. It's in the middle of a pandemic, but it's great for him. And, you know, I'm concerned about the future of the United States of America. I'm concerned about our ability to create economic wealth. I'm concerned that we're squeezing wealth out of the few who have it, and it's going to other parts of the world. I'm concerned that it's going to China. I'm concerned that we let it happen. And I'm concerned that in this country, we are quite literally reduced to fighting for what we think the other person has because that person is white or that person is black or Asian or Hispanic or so on. If that is a reflection of the fact that we do not have enough money sloshing around in this economy, that's the big problem. And so you have a minimum wage proposal for $15. But look, if you out there own a business among the people that are watching right now, you know that you can't just automatically pay that. However, the people who impose it, okay, think that you as a business owner are rich because you have a business. I have a business. I mean, Zenny 62 Media is in its second year of good standing with the state of Delaware. Okay? But rich? No. I established the business to basically corral all of the services I was already offering, in some cases for free, for friends. Y'all keep coal in Oakland. I did do it for free, and then one day I said, "Why am I doing this for free? I'm gonna get paid for this. Heck with it. I'm gonna make everybody, and then I'm gonna let everybody know I'm getting paid for it." But my point is, I built this company to help my mom and establish a future for myself, and I did it the right way. I'm doing it the right way, and I will continue to do so. But I am not rich. I can't afford to just automatically pay that minimum wage unless I, think about it and say, oh, maybe I'll reduce the amount of time that somebody has to work on something so that on paper it looks like it's more than that, right? Or crap like that. No, I like to pay people for things. I don't like to do sweat equity and all that other garbage. People deserve money for their work. But also, businesses deserve to be subsidized so that they can at least afford to pay a minimum wage. 80% of American business is small business. But I digress, okay? Back to Vegas and the Raiders and the NFL. But again, if you think about it, the Raiders are also a small business. Will Las Vegas recover? I'm concerned. Reno is recovering a lot faster. There was a time when Reno was further behind the 8 ball than Las Vegas after the recession. Remember that? And it took a long time for for Reno to rebound. Now it's the reverse. And I believe this is the time when, rather than waiting for this so-called market, which really is a myth, to recover, I'll explain what I mean by that, we have to have the government take charge of investing in key areas so that people can advance. What I'm talking about is neither this stupid ideology about, socialism or capitalism or communism. Those words are uttered by people who have no idea what they're talking about. What I'm talking about is how economies work. Let me simplify it for you. How much money you got in your pocket right now? Okay? What would happen if somebody came along and robbed you of that money? You wouldn't have any money. That would eliminate your ability to pay for food, for your rent, or a mortgage. You get the idea. Or just maybe to hand some money off to your kids or your significant other because they need money. That has nothing to do with ideology. That's reality. All right? And the reality is when you don't have enough money for some reason, yet your costs don't go away. They should. And it's nice that they have, for example, eviction moratoriums, but the You know what? The landlord still has to pay that mortgage, and the landlord needs help. All right? These are real responsibilities and real concerns. They don't change with ideology. Just because you're a socialist, it doesn't go away. Because you're a capitalist, it doesn't go away. So those of you just uttering these words because you hear them on television, you need to stop. Or because you hear it uttered by some conservative, you need to stop. Or because you hear it uttered by some liberal or Democrat, you need to stop. Think about the basics of how the economy works. And that will bring you home every single day. And right now, we're at a point where people need money. All right? The more money there is in the economy, lower the crime rate. Simple equation. Okay? And right now, government, if you want to think about the market is us. Government exists to correct market forces when they hurt us. And the pandemic has. Yeah, you can argue about how it's responded. I say, hey, look, you're going to have people stay indoors, pay them to stay in. If you have business, you're asking businesses to close, pay the businesses for closing. That's logical. Again, it's the money replacement ethic. They don't have money, right? You're asking them to not make money. You're robbing them of money. Give them the money back. Simple things to do to keep your economy going that we don't do. And that should piss you off. If it doesn't, there is something wrong with you. Okay? I'm giving you brass tacks, folks. This is where we need to be. And when I'm talking about impacts everybody, impacts the Raiders. It impacts your ability to see the Raiders this fall, hopefully. It impacts who plays on the Raiders. It impacts the amount of money that they're paid. It impacts the National Football League. It impacts America. It impacts the world. This is us, folks. This is us. So if you want to have a big bow and say, hey, look, Zenny's upset that Las Vegas Sands made this move, you would be absolutely correct. I am. I'm sad for Las Vegas. I fear for its future, its immediate future. And I'm going to keep digging to find out because, and here's why. It's not just that I've loved Las Vegas. I've covered CES since 2009, 10, right? Under my own brand consistently. But as Las Vegas goes, so goes America. Oakland, the Bay Area can recover faster because we have a more diverse economy. Far more diverse than Las Vegas. Las Vegas has been a one-horse town for a long, long time. It is not, as Dixon says, he says he's not sad for Las Vegas. I am. Because again, we're all interconnected. I'm sad for my friends in Las Vegas who work as booth representatives and relied on jobs that way, or there are models who had their photographs used for slot machines that you may have played. So I would bet even money that any person watching this that's been to Las Vegas walked by or played one of the games that my friends' faces are on. They suffer. The people who would buy architectural services as far away as the Bay Area, or software, or tech services, because it's, hey, the Bay Area is the modern Detroit, the tech capital. The Bay Area hurts too. America hurts when you have a one-horse town that's as big as Las Vegas is in terms of its economy with respect to casinos. When Las Vegas suffers, we do feel it. The Bay Area is larger, so it's more robust. California is larger as an economy. It's 19th economy and largest economy in the world, right? We feed Las Vegas. When we don't have as much money, Las Vegas hurts even more too. So we are all in this together. We're all in this together. So yeah, we suffer. So that's my report right now. I'm going to go back and do some more research. I'll be back with more. Deshaun, hey, thanks for your comments. God bless you. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com. And that ends this broadcast.